Hi, I'm Devin Kanab. I'm the publisher and leader of Travelweek magazine, a media company dedicated to getting information to the travel industry, the agents, what they need to know, especially through these trying times. So we're back again with our webinar series, and we're back again with Utah and Corey Marshall. Hi.
Hi guys, how are we?
We're good. Sorry, I'll just do the housekeeping. Agents, if you have any comments and need technical support, they go in the chat box. And then if you have any Q&A questions, we will put them in the Q&A box and we'll address them at the end. And we do have a very exciting prize, so stick around for that. A little bit of a more interactive prize than we've had in the past, so it will involve a teeny weeny little bit of work from you. So stay on to hear those details. But now I'm going to officially pass it to Corey, and he is going to paint us the picture of how beautiful Utah really is.
I always try, and it's great to be back and supporting the Canadian trade through Travel Week. The one thing about Utah, though, is just a reminder, is actually during the pandemic, we never left. The Utah Office of Tourism has remained committed and supported all of their international markets, including Canada and our Canadian agent partners, and we appreciate all the support you guys have shown us along the way, whether it was participating in Walker Tracker or any of our programs with Travel Week or any of our webinar series. You'll remember if you joined our Utah webinars, we started in northern Utah in the city of Salt Lake, and then headed out to Heber Valley and then north to Logan, and now we're heading south to those beautiful red rocks, the beautiful weather where my friend Janette Peatross is at the moment, and she is our Kanab and Kane County Office of Tourism expert. Janette, just so you're aware, has lived in Kanab nearly her whole life. Her parents actually owned Denny's Wigwam store on Main Street, and she grew up with tourism. 2.5 years ago, she was appointed as the assistant director of the travel and tourism department with the Kane County Office of Tourism. And so Janette, you're live on location. You're outside. Yes. We love being outside, and we'll turn it over to you to take us through today's presentation.
Great, thank you. And thank you everyone for joining today. I'm excited to share with you my little town of Kanab that we think is such a great hidden gem. Okay, so it looks like we've got our slides up, and to start off with, let's go to the next slide, Corey. The one that has the map. Let's get to that one. Okay, so right here you can see circled down there at the bottom is Kanab. We're located at the bottom of the state of Utah, and I believe the best part of Utah. We are 3 hours from Las Vegas Airport and about 5 hours from Salt Lake City Airport. So we have a few great options to get to Kanab. You can fly into Vegas, come to Kanab, and then go on your way up, ski in Salt Lake, and then leave, or go into Vegas, do a national park trip, because we are surrounded by national parks, which I'll get into. Let's go ahead and watch this video to get started. All right, I hope you guys could all hear that sound. I couldn't hear it on my end, but I'm assuming it worked for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. The thing I'm really excited about and I'd like to share about Kanab is that we are the classic small town America. We are a small town, like in this slide, it mentions we have about 5,000 residents. We are a great place to come make your base camp. If you want to come to Kanab, stay in one place, unpack one time, and then be able to go visit all the parks and all the cool hidden gems that I'm going to tell you about today. Kanab is also known as Utah's Little Hollywood. I want to be sure and share that with everyone. And the name Kanab comes from the word the willows that were all there in a creek nearby Kanab. For the Paiutes came and they found all those willows and they named it Kanab. All right, let's go on to the next slide, Corey. All right, as I said, Kanab is known as Utah's Little Hollywood, and it's really a cool story. Back in the 40s and 50s, some of the movie studios from California came out and they saw it, and they saw the beautiful sky and the big clouds that we have, and the cool destination that it is. And they decided to come do some of the old Western movies. And as you can see, we had Lone Ranger, we had a ton of different movies. Over 250 movies have been filmed in the Kanab area. And even the show Gunsmoke had several episodes filmed. That's the picture there on the top right. So we do have that great history, and it was a really fun time for Kanab. All the locals would dig in and help the movies, and it was a great time for Kanab. Okay, you can move on. All right, so one of my favorite things though is not only is Kanab just a great location and a fun place to stay, but we have all these cool hidden gems. And that's what I want to talk about for a minute right now. We have slot canyons. And I don't know if anyone's been to a slot canyon, but that's a definite thing you need to do if you come to Utah. Our slot canyons are amazing. And one of them that's really close is called Peekaboo. We also have the United States' longest slot canyon is Buckskin Gulch. And that's just about an hour drive outside of Kanab. We also have the sand caves. We have a state park called Coral Pink Sand Dunes State Park, where you can do sandboarding and you can just enjoy and do ATV riding. All sorts of different things you can do. The Toadstool Hoodoos is another one of my favorites. Let's move on to the next one, Corey. I think I've got some more pictures. Yeah, this one here, the first picture there is South Caddy Butte, which is an awesome experience. It's actually a permitted hike, but it is something that is fairly accessible. The center slide there is Buckskin Gulch. That is my favorite place to visit in Kanab, or near Kanab, which is the Slot Canyon. And this goes on for 23 miles. So you can go in. When I've only went in for a couple hours and then turned around and came out. So you can make it a couple days and you can camp inside of it, or you can just walk in and turn around and come out. And then that last slide there, or the last picture, is one of our toadstools or hoodoos. And we have those all over. And this is just a special area called the toadstools where there's a bunch of them are all together. All right, let's move to the next slide. All right, more hidden gems are the Belly of the Dragon, which is this man-made cave here that you see the picture of. We've got Water Canyon is another 45 minutes away. And the really unique thing about Kanab is not only can you come to Kanab, stay and do all these cool these hikes that aren't going to be super crowded, but then you can also visit 3 national parks, we are 45 minutes from Zion National Park. We're about an hour and 15 minutes from Bryce, and we're about an hour and a half from the north rim of the Grand Canyon. Those are all really great parks and awesome places to visit. And I recommend, stay for 4 or 5 days in Kanab so that you can spend a day at each park and then also spend a day going to as many hidden gems as you can fit in. Okay, let's move on to the next one. All right, you might recognize this slide by Corey's background is also this. This is the wave. And you may have seen this picture of the wave is pretty famous. In 2009, Microsoft came out to Kanab and they took a picture of this and they made it their background. And it just blew up. So this formation called the wave, as Corey mentioned, I grew up in Kanab. I had never even been to it. I think my dad ran cattle and I'm sure he saw it around when he was with his cows and things, but it wasn't a big deal. And what was really cool is once Microsoft did this, we just all kind of realized, wow, we've got some cool stuff around here. We don't have to rely on only the national parks. We've got our own things. Anyway, so the wave, we basically say it just blew up. And because it became so popular, our government has made that a permitted hike now, but you can, it's pretty accessible. I mean, we have a lottery every morning, which is actually a lottery that just the way you think, it's like there's bingo balls and they turn them in the turner and you all go in and everyone cheers when the people get drawn out and win. So they do only allow a total of 64 people a day to go into the wave. And that is to protect those delicate sandstone arches that you can see there, because you can imagine if lots of traffic goes in, then it just wears down that delicate sandstone. So if you are interested in the wave and if you have folks coming out, I would definitely recommend to apply. It takes 30 minutes in the morning to apply for the wave, and then you go the next day. So it's an awesome thing to do. And then if you don't win, you haven't lost, because we've got so many other things to do. All right, let's go on to the next slide. I don't want to do my time. Okay, and as far as activities, I love all of our activities. Not only are they the hidden gems that I mentioned, but you can go like the hiking, and you'll see there that top left picture, all season hiking. That picture there, you're walking on ice, because that's another slot canyon. That one's called Willis Creek. And that one in the winter, our winters are fairly mild. And so even though it got cold and froze the bottom of it, it still was warm enough. You can just dress appropriately and go into the slot canyons. Winter is my favorite time to hike for sure. We also have a nice reservoir with the bikes, the bike trail around it, and a new company doing electric bikes. I didn't even mention, but Lake Powell is an hour away, and you can go out there and do all the water sports. Sand dunes is a great place to do sandboarding, as I mentioned, and then we've got the horseback riding and of course the slot canyons, as I mentioned. And just this summer, we actually have 2 via ferratas that we're really excited about. So we have lots of options, guided tours. It's so fun to go on the guided tours because it's really the locals are there sharing with you what they know. And it's just fun because it's like you're out with an old friend. And so it's a great way to get to see some cool stuff in Kanab. Let's move on to the next slide. All right, another favorite thing I love to talk about is, let's see, are we still on? My phone just did something. Okay, Best Friends Animal Sanctuary. It's the largest no-kill animal sanctuary in the United States. And at any given time, there'll be up to 1,600 dogs, cats, horses, all the animals that you can imagine. And they are all up there. It's a canyon 15 minutes north of Kanab, and you can go up there and do guided tours. Sometimes on vacation, it's nice to do something different. And this gives you a chance. You can go up there and volunteer. You can spend time with the kittens or the dogs or whatever. And it's just a unique thing that you can do when you're on vacation, a way to maybe give a little bit back. Let's move to the next slide. And if you're wondering where to stay in Kanab, if you're lucky and you can do Amangiri, if you've heard of the Amman resorts, they are the high-end resorts, I think, in the world. And a lot of them are not in the United States, but we are lucky. Of the 3, I believe that there are, we have this Amangiri resort out just an hour east of Kanab. And it is an awesome place for your high-end clients. Last time I looked, it was about $3,000 a night to stay there, but they do offer glamping. And then they also have the normal type hotel space, that not normal, but the higher end that everyone can stay in. And it's a really cool experience. They also have a via ferrata out there as well, but we don't really mention that. Unless you're a guest, you can't use it, but they'll do anything. If you've got people that want to go to that kind of a experience, it is the best. Okay, let's go to the next one. All right, so also we're really excited. I just got to go visit this. We got a under canvas property this year, just opened in March, I believe. And it's the glamping, and it is so nice. If you can see those pictures, you can see that it's glamping. It actually is in a tent. It's in a canvas tent, as you can see on that bottom right picture, but it's so nice and clean. And there's a shower in there, and there's a flushing toilet. So it's not camping. That's what we like to say, glamping, but it is a great option. That's also out by Lake Powell. Let's move to the next slide. And let's see, I think this next one's going to be all of our other properties. We do have all the, we've got boutique properties. That first one there on the right, the top right, is Perry Lodge. That's one, I don't know if you saw it in one of those first slides, I had a picture of the movie's being filmed. And this is a famous hotel that was, all the movie stars would stay there. And this is really fun. Right now they have over the doors of the rooms, they have some of the stars that stayed in that room. So you get to pick whose room. Maybe you get to stay in John Wayne's room, or Sammy Davis Jr. or Frank Sinatra. And that's a really cool experience. And then we also have the flag hotels, which are your Best Western, Holiday Inn, La Quinta, and Comfort, many others. And then Best Friends, the animal sanctuary, has a hotel that you can actually foster pets, and then you can come and stay there. So that's a really cool option as well. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. So this lists a lot of our lodging, and then we also have more. You can see there where you can click. Outside of Kanab, just like within an hour vicinity, we have a ton of the vacation rental properties. We have Zion Mountain Ranch and East Zion Resort, which are big properties that are cabins that you can rent. And then there's like that picture of the treehouse. Just some really awesome options for whatever type of guest that you have. Okay, let's move to the next one. And then lastly, we don't want to forget to eat. In Kanab, luckily, we are so lucky we have this chef here, Chef Sean, did training out of the Almond Resort. And then he came to Kanab and opened a restaurant. And as he's done that, we've had several other really high-end restaurants come into Kanab, so that I feel like we really have the down-home cooking that you might expect, but then we also have some of your higher level fancy food that you might not expect to find in a little town with 5,000 people. But we love it, and we hope that you guys can all, maybe somebody, I know we are giving away a contest, so hopefully somebody can win some of our merchandise from Kanab. And I think that was my last slide. Corey, was that the last one? Yeah, that one has all of our information, and I would love to help anyone. If you guys have questions, yeah, let me just, you can email me. I don't know if my email was on an earlier slide, but I'll be happy to help. And I would love to see anyone. If anyone comes out our way, be sure and stop in our Office of Tourism.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Janette. And that was a great, introduction to Kanab and all that you offer, of course, in the area. And I know it's an awesome spot in Southern Utah, and we'll get into a few questions and answers with the agents first in a minute. But you are giving away a great Kanab swag bag today, including sweatshirt, coffee mug, and more specialty gifts from Main Street. This time, agents, what we were encouraging you to do is Laura from our team will be collecting the 3 answers to these questions. And so if you can send her an email, even type it up in your inbox right now, with the answers to these 3 questions. They have to be correct to be eligible. And then we'll be following up with one lucky winner of the Kanab swag bag. So what did Janette say was the nickname that Kanab is also known by? Question 2 was, Kanab is a starting point for many experiences. Which 5 do you recommend to your customers? She gave us lots, and we might even talk about a few of them again. So, and then name 3 overnight accommodations in and near Kanab. And again, she gave us far more than 3, and there's some awesome accommodation options. So yeah, those are the 3 questions. And if you can email those answers off to Laura, that would be awesome. I'll leave them up on the screen just a minute. And I don't know, is there any questions that we need to have Janette answer?
Hi, yeah, agents, can I just remind you that if you have any questions, to please put them in the Q&A box right now, and we're going to go through them and address them. The first question is an interesting question. Can you explain what a via ferrata is?
I can try. So I just did it my first time this last summer. So it's like a cliff face, and then they put rebar like steps in it, and then you climb up the side of the cliff. But you're all, and then next to the rebar steps that you're climbing up, they have a wire, or not a wire, I don't know what, but something that you latch yourself onto. You're wearing like a harness, and you're latched on so that you cannot fall off, but you go up really steep and interesting inclines that you would not be able to do without being harnessed in and then holding on to these things. So it's a way to, I guess, rock climb. or mountain climb or cliff climb, but to be safe.
Yeah, let's just say it's a cliff adventure, but you're fully
Yes.
safe.
You're fully safe, but I was surprised I dared to do it, but I did it and it was awesome. Something you don't want to miss.
And is there any age limits on the Via Ferrata? Do you have to be 12?
I don't know. I think there's, like I said, there's two different companies and they probably each have their own limits. And I can email anyone there. It's Rome Adventures is the company, the first one I'm thinking of. And I could email they have a website just called actually Rome Adventures. And so they have all that information on there.
Okay, I'm just gonna go over the rules of the contest because people seem to be putting the answers into the question and answer box.
Oh.
You're gonna answer the questions and then you're gonna email Corey's team and then they're gonna pick the winners from there. So don't put them in the Q&A box. The Q&A box is for your questions right now. And then the answers are gonna be emailed afterwards. It's okay, don't worry. Someone says, sorry, my apologies. Okay, how about a question? Can you let us know how far you are from some of the major international airports?
Yes, we're 3 hours from Las Vegas International Airport. 3 hours, that would be 3 hours to the south. And then coming from north, we're about 5 hours from Salt Lake City International Airport.
Oh, okay, excellent. And an agent here has a little bit of a question around Little Hollywood. Do you mind expanding on that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it got that nickname because back in the 40s is when Hollywood came out and found what a unique location we are and how well the scenery fit in with doing all the Westerns that were being filmed at that time. And then it just grew. And so it went on and years and years. And it's very cool. Like my dad grew up there and he was an extra and he talks about working at that hotel, the one I showed you, Perry's Lodge, and working there as a bellhop and getting tips from these Frank Sinatra or whoever, or Dean Martin. He got to actually be, not Dean Martin, another one. Anyway, there was tons of them there. Dean Martin was there. Frank Sinatra was there. There's just 250 movies were filmed. And then, as I said, the Gunsmoke movie TV series, some of those episodes were filmed in Kanab. So we just got to be known as Little Hollywood because the production people loved it. They loved when they'd come to town, all the locals would, help out and get paid and earn like a lot of money for a 12-year-old kid to be donating his horse. He could earn $75 a day and that was awesome. So it just was a really good mix at the right time.
Yeah, I actually had the Santa Claus movie filmed on my street when I was a kid and they paid us all this money to put snow and everything they did. They took a board out of our fence and they paid us like $500. So it was quite fun.
Yes.
Okay, Mia would like some clarification. She saw that the wave might be actually in Arizona. So do you share the wave with another state?
Yes, we do. So the wave is actually in Arizona, but you access it from Utah. And so that's why we have the lottery in Utah. And if you were out there and you needed help, it would be the Utah Search and Rescue that would come find you. And our Utah officers would go search for you if you take a wrong turn when you're out there. So it's just right on the border. And so that's why you're right. The actual wave is in Utah, but the hike does start the wave is in Arizona, but the hike starts in Utah.
Yeah, and just maybe Janette on the hike part, because I mean we've been fortunate. I've been fortunate. This is my photo.
Yes.
To be there. I think it's just a good reminder for agents that it is a 5 kilometer one direction into the wave and 5 kilometers back out. So it's not. I mean, it's accessible and you see all kinds of people doing the wave, but it is that definitely kind of do the research before you send someone out to the lottery to make sure that they're comfortable with the conditions.
Definitely.
And I had a question on permitting. So, because this is not, I mean, the wave is one permitted hike, but you also mentioned there's others. Is there a place that the agents can go to know more about the permitting, or is there like are there multiple different
spots?
Yeah, cool.
Our website has it, the Visit Southern Utah. You can link off that to get to the wave. Because as I said, there's the lottery in town. So when your guests arrive in Kanab, that's when they go to the one in town. But then there's also one online, and that's at the blm.gov. or go to our site, visit Southern Utah. It would be probably easier. And then you can link over to theirs to get all the information, and you can apply online up to 4 months before you arrive. So.
And for the online, sorry, one more, for the online lottery, sorry, not the online, for the one in person in Kanab, that is such an exceptional experience. Everyone needs to go watch that anyways, if they're in town.
Yes, definitely.
Just to see people's fate, like get success or not right in front of their eyes, to go hike. But there is a secret for like the best chances at that lottery in a certain day of the week, right? Is that still the case, or is that changed?
Well, during the summer, we're open 7 days a week, but Corey is exactly right. In the winter months, so starting probably in 2 weeks, we'll go to where we don't actually draw on Saturday and Sunday. So if you go on Friday, you're being drawn out for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So definitely Friday is going to be the best day all through the winter. And the winter really is a great time because our biggest crowds are spring and fall at the Wave.
Very interesting. Corey, maybe you want to comment, I know you're Canadian, why Utah and this region in particular is such a interesting option for Canadians?
Yeah, for sure. So I obviously grew up in Calgary and hiked in the Canadian Rockies my whole life. And that's an exceptional part of the world as well. But my best hike all time was out to the Wave in Janette's part of the world, for sure.
Yay.
Like bar none. And it's just the diversity of the terrain for a Canadian when they're outside and outdoors, the blue skies like we had in Alberta. I mean, Alberta's got blue skies as well, but these blue skies off the red rock are just so special. And I think just for any outdoor enthusiast, no matter what level of kind of accessibility, there's something on offer in Kanab. Like the belly of the dragon that Janette showed, that's roadside. Like you just drive your car up, you get out, and you get these amazing Instagram shots. You know, some of the slots canyons are really accessible with outfitters to take you right to the base of the canyon, and then you can walk in there as far as you want or not. And I think, you know, whether it's a Canadian snowbirder coming down through the region this winter, they can get outside. It's a great time, like Janette said, to be in Southern Utah. And the weather, the climate's amazing. And the people, I think that's the other part of Southern Utah. And I mean, I love the accent. I don't know if you guys noticed Janette's accent, but and they're just really hospitable and friendly, and everyone's there to help out. And it's really small charm feel, but look at, I mean, the accommodation offering is next to none, like in terms of from Amangiri to East Island to, you know, all the brands in town. Many of them are really new. And so it's a great stop for Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful place. I've been there myself. I love it.
Good.
Okay, does one of you want to comment? Unfortunately, we are still in a pandemic, even if we're moving to the other side of it. Are there any rules, regulations that Canadians should be aware of if they come to Utah?
I can comment. Kanab is really, as we're such a small town and we're kind of more remote, I sometimes forget that people are still wearing masks because we just don't, although you can. So whatever people are comfortable with, I think, you know, we're accepting of either way, but it's not required in Utah right now to wear a mask. It is the hotels, although, as I said, we've been having domestic travel since the end of 2020. And so they've all got some really good practices in place to make people understand that they are being clean, because they are still wanting to make sure that they're covering the bases and making it a safe place for people, but then also letting them still enjoy. So the hotels and the restaurants do a great job. We actually did a thing called Above and Beyond, where they had to go through some training, and then we give them a decal to put on their door or their place of business, so that you'll know that these guys have been through the training, and it's a great option, good place to stay.
Okay, that's good to know. And Corey, do you want to maybe take it to a higher level and just remind all the agents about getting into the US right now?
Sure. So we were absolutely thrilled, obviously, that the US is opening the land border to vaccinated Canadians. That's going to see obviously a massive amount of snowbirders, like I said, coming down this wintertime. It's going to create way less confusion for the trade. I can only imagine where you had an air border that was open to the States, but the land border wasn't. Now, we're going to have that for all vaccinated Canadians. The other big news that we were talking about just before we got on live with everyone was the fact that the federal government is also, what's with the word, removed the, I guess, kind of require the Canadian, what's the word? Help me out here, Devin, but
the advisory against
travel, that's the one.
Lifted.
That's right. So that means tourism can happen, and that, there's no advisory against it. And so that, combined with the border reopening, is putting us in a really good spot in Utah for this winter.
We're ready for you.
It's a lot easier to go to the US now, and I think Canadians may still be nervous about some longer haul flights. So I would imagine that a lot of people will be going to the US and, maybe a little bit further, but it's still a bit scary to fly over the oceans. Okay. Janette, do you want to give us a final word, inspire us to come to your destination?
Okay, my thing is, if you want the small town USA feel, where everybody you can go make friends with the same person that served your breakfast, they may be working at the Wave Lottery later that day. So you want the small town feel, but to be able to unpack your bag one time, stay in one place, see all the national parks that surround us, and some really cool hidden gems, then Kanab is a perfect spot.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And Corey, do you want to maybe take us through the prizing one more time, and then you can inspire us?
Yeah, sure. So just agents, as a reminder, the 3 questions you need to answer and send to lara@canuckkiwi.com are: what is the nickname that Kanab is also known by? Kanab is the starting point for so many experiences. Can you name 5 of them? And then name 3 overnight accommodation options in and near Kanab. And I know there were some great links in Janette's presentation, so we'll make sure that that's available through the Travelweek site in our follow-up as a PDF that you can download. And then you'll have that as well for yourselves to link to our outfitters and our accommodators and everything else. In terms of a final wrap-up comment, we are, with the opening, our team at the Utah Office of Tourism and Janette, we haven't been busier. We have had so many inquiries from ski wholesalers, because obviously the northern part of Utah has got the greatest snow on earth, and ski is happening this winter from a travel product. And there's nothing better for your skiers is to combine them with a road trip down through Janette's area and base camp of adventure in Kanab. And combining both, so you get the greatest snow on earth and the red rock, and then they can depart out of Vegas. And I think you saw in the first few slides, like, we have a greater team. So Janette is a great contact for the Kanab area, but our team and Zach, who joins me from the Utah Office of Tourism, we are a great resource for you if you need outfitter contacts or names of outfitters, or I need help with an itinerary. So just never hesitate to reach out to us. That's what we're here for. We want to help you help your travelers get down and have the best possible experience.
Okay, thank you so much. Do you mind spelling out the email one more time for the contest?
It's Lara, so Lara, at canuckkiwi, so CANUCKIWI.com. And I see it's also just been put into the chat as well.
Okay, well, thank you both for being here today. Utah is such a fabulous, beautiful destination. I hope we can send down many Canadians to you. I know you'll take good care of them, and they'll come back raving about Utah. And thanks, Corey, for being here over the 5 webinar series. It was great to have you. So agents out there, will be circling back with the contest winner, and we're going to send the presentation today. And of course, if you have any questions, you can reach out to my 2 guests today.
Yes.
So thank you so much. Take care, and we'll see you at the next Travel Week webinar.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.